Hello, it is Diane with Diane's Blue Hearts and Butterflies, and I saw this great card idea from being done by Don Griffith, and it's an interactive kind of pop-up card, and I wanted to share this with my class. And this can be used with so many different stamp sets in so many different ways, and I mainly wanted to focus on a few of the tips with this card. It is a gatefold, which means that it doesn't fold in half. It folds, you take the half and you split it on each end, and then it folds together in a gate. So let me go over some things that I used for this. On this one, I did use the Way to Goat stamp set. We were doing die cards, and I wanted to be able to feature a really cute stamp set for this. I also used the some of the labels in the Tasteful labels, which went with the oh my goodness, I can't think of the stamp set. There was a stamp set that it was bundled with in the last catalog. I also used the scalloped rectangle stitch dies out of the Stitch So Sweetly dies, and then I also used the scallop squares and the regular squares out of the layering squares. This one is retired. You could probably find them somewhere if you don't have them in your personal stash. I also used, on one of the cards, I used the watercolor pencils. There are two sets, so to have more variety, it's great to have both sets. On the other card, I did use the Stampin' Blend markers. You could also use the Stampin' Write markers if you wish, if you have those to color with. And I used Smoky Slate ink and the Tuxedo Black ink for this. All of the dimensions and measurements are over on my blog at dianesblueheartsandbutterflies.com. I'm not going to go over them here. If you could go over to the blog and get those, it would be better. Because there's so many different ones. There is the base, and again, this is a gatefold. So once you've done the scored it at 2 1/8 from each end of the regular base card size, you're going to want to pull this over, and you want these to line up together but not overlap. So you might want to put them together, kind of make sure that they are where they need to be, and then kind of go out from the center to line it up so that you can be pulling it basically to the outer side, and then that makes it where they don't overlap in the center. And then you'll burnish those very well so that you have good card there. Then there's the inside white piece that we're going to go ahead and glue inside here. I'm gonna go ahead and put that inside because we're going to have to stamp this piece after we get the mechanisms in there, so it won't save you any time to just hold it out and stamp it first. So it's better to go ahead and put that in there. There are also the layering pieces for the front. Then you'll need 2 sets of the squares for the inside for the goats, and then the one on the front. Now, the one that Dawn Griffith used, she probably had it was kind of a similar type of label from the Hippo and Friends, and there's actually graduated sizes of that, and that's what she used. I didn't have that one, so I used this one out of the Tasteful labels and just mounted that onto the scalloped rectangle stitched one. You also have the little label that you'll do the You're the Goat, which is greatest of all time, and a layer for that. And then there's the 2 little strips of white that are going to make the mechanism. Now these are 5 1/4 by 1 inch, and you'll need 2 of those. So I'm going to take and move this one out of the way. Again, the measurements and dimensions are over on my blog, so you'll be able to see those over there. So on this one, I've already kind of started doing some of this. Let me go ahead and stick this one down now. And again, I'm using this Stampin' Sil Plus. It's the one that I like the best. It tends to roll easier. It also has those little slits in the adhesive that helps it to tear and roll better, for me anyway. It is very super permanent, so once it's down, it's down. I did go ahead and adhere these pieces together, and I'm going to stick those to the front of the card. I'm not sure if I'm still in the screen. Another thing is, if it goes over the edge, it's really easy to fold that back over. And then it's a very tiny border that'll be around here. And I use the gray kind of concrete looking background paper out of the In Good Taste. I used that designer series paper for all of my cards for the class besides cardstock this time. It's very good for manly cards to have those kind of textile type backgrounds with planks and concrete and wood and things like that. So that's the front part. You also would have your large, I did the large goat on the large label, and then I just kind of stuck, I didn't go all the way to the edges, I just stuck some in the middle because it hangs over a little bit in some areas, and I just wanted to make sure that I got it stuck where I wanted it. And so I got that there. Now when you adhere this one to the front, you're going to remember that this is going to be centered here, so you're only going to add adhesive to 1/2 or one side of this to stick to the door. So I'm going to go ahead and just run the adhesive on 1/2 of this, and then kind of line that up over the center, push it down on the one side, and so you don't have the glue over here. Now, the one other tip that I was going to give for this is with the watercolor pencils, yes, you can use water to make them look like a watercolored image, but you can also just color the image with this. But as you'll notice when you're coloring, I hope that you can notice at least with this, is that it leaves kind of those lines. No matter how careful you are, there's just some lines that are left with the pencil that you may not want to have in your finished product that you're going to give to someone. So I'm going to show you another product that Stampin' Up! Sells, and not too many people use this product. I haven't seen a lot of people using it, but I do use mine quite a bit. I'm going to try to add a little bit of shading by adding some darker areas here. Alright, so it's the blender pens that they sell, and it has a kind of clear liquid in it, and it just kind of smooths those lines so that it gets rid of that the lines in the coloring, and it just kind of smooths everything over. And so I love blender pens. I use them a lot because where I don't really want a watercolor wash or something, I just want to have smoothing, that's when I use the blender pens. And again, it's just when you're done with the color, you just wipe those off and then they're clean. And the other thing I wanted to mention in this stamp set, some people ask what this little line is. This actually creates that shadow underneath the goats. And so that's what I stamped that in Smoky Slate. I stamped all of the goats in the Tuxedo Black for all of these. And then you take this and you just layer it on your scallop square. And then we'll get over to the mechanism. Now these two pieces, you're going to score it at 1 inch, 2 inches, and then 4 1/4, because this is a 5 1/4, so it creates a 1 inch piece here and then 2 1-inch pieces here. On the outside edges of the 1 inch pieces, so this is where it's folded in valleys, you fold all of those in valleys, you're going to take your tear and tape and you're just going to put a couple of pieces on each of the outside 1 inch squares. And that's the only adhesive that we're really going to want on these little mechanism pieces. So on the top one, where it's going to be opening up out to the left side, you're going to take the one single piece of or square here and the 2 1 inch squares on this side. Go ahead and fold those 2 1 inch squares underneath, and then you're going to take this piece with the 1 inch side that has the tape on it, line it up next to that score line where it's touching but not overlapping. Then you're going to want to kind of bring in your square and lay it over this longer centerpiece where it touches up to that fold line but not overlapping it, because you want to make sure that you're not up too high so that this piece sticks out, but you're not too low where it's going to interfere with the one on the bottom either. So you kind of line this up and you make sure that it's inside the card at the top, and then go ahead and move that off, leave this where it is, and then you're going to tear the backings off of the tear and tape, and then you'll just fold this side over so that adheres that part there. Then you're going to go ahead and fold it where that 1 inch square is on the back. You're going to open these up, and then you're going to, I gotta look at this again. Take this, oh yeah, so I had to look at it just to make sure I was telling people right. I didn't want to tell you wrong. So tear the backings off of this, fold this so that it's flat, fold this under, holding that up with your fingers on the back side, and then just make sure that you're lining this up, pushing it down from the outside here, and then that way it creates this little loop, but it folds out and it folds all the way closed. And then once you do close it, you can always fuss a little bit with that edge. Now, the one on the bottom is going to be done exactly the opposite way. So the one single 1 inch square is going to be on the right side, and the 2 are going to be on the left. Again, you're going to fold those 2 pieces up underneath just so they're out of the way. You're going to line this up so that it's over here. You want to kind of make sure that when you line this up, it's not going to be hanging down. Kind of get that where you want it. Make sure that that's lined up. Tear off these backings. Fold the right side in, press, then you'll open it, open this all the way again, tear these backing pieces off, then you're going to hold this up, fold the one single outside one underneath, keep a hold on that, and you're going to push like this so that you can line that up. And again, it will create those two loops. I hope you can see those, so that when you fold it together, it folds down. When you open it up, it lifts up. And then this is where you'll just add, and I added the tape runner to this part here. And then I was trying to be very careful not to have this go all the way over that edge, because it tended to catch as it was closing. So some of the white is still going to show. You're going to have the scallops go all the way up to it. If you don't have scallop squares, you can always use just plain regular squares that you cut. And again, I'm going to add my adhesive. This is the Seal Plus is a more permanent adhesive over here. And then line this up again so that it's not sticking over the top, and it's right up to but not going over that edge, and you line that there. And then when you close it, you just close it like that. Now this You're the Goat I just added straight down on here, so I just kind of put some right in the center and hanging over. Oh, I went down too far. That's something else you have to be careful of, because it is going to hang down below here. So what you may end up doing is putting another piece of that. So what I would do is probably use glue dots at the top to do that, and I will add that later on mine. But these are the cards, and Dawn Griffith comes up with some really wonderful mechanisms and cards, and I know that she's inspired by other ladies that create these as well, and she shares them so well, and I appreciate her for doing that so that I can share these things with the ladies in my class that come. And I hope that you enjoyed this, and will check out my blog at dianesblueheartsandbutterflies.com. Thank you.